there are two important committees for the issue on hand. One is known as the Privileges Committee, which reviews any breach of privilege by a member, and the other is in 2007, when an MP took his female companion and impersonated her as his wife.
Yes.
The Ethics Committee had recommended similar cash for vote happened in 2005 when some members, it was caught on a sting operation in a TV where members were taking cash for asking certain questions. In fact, there was only one judge who said, no, expulsion is not there under the existing provisions unless the constitution is amended. Hi everyone, welcome. So glad to see you again. I have with me Mr. Guna Madivanan, who is my colleague at Officers IAS Academy, and he is here to ask some questions on all of your behalf for some of the issues on hand. Hi Guna. Welcome.
Hello sir. Hello sir. Sir, we see across a lot of news articles something related to cash for query scam involving a Lok Sabha MP Mahua Moitra. So first I would like to know, you have also written an editorial topic in Hindu today regarding this. First, from the commoners perspective, on behalf of all, I would like to ask you about that scam. What is that scam? Because asking questions, how can it become a scam?
Yeah, exactly. So this is an allegation against the Trinamool Congress MP, Ms. Mahua Moitra. So one other member of parliament had complained saying that she had received cash and gifts from a leading businessman to pose questions against another leading business house, right? A person by name Hiranandani, to ask questions against the Adani group. That is the allegation. And it is also alleged that she had shared her login credentials. And questions were typed even from Dubai and other places by the businessman directly. So these are the allegations. And this can be viewed, there is a criminal angle to it, if there is indeed cash that has been taken, which has to be proven in a court of law. But it is also can be perceived as a breach of privilege of the house. So that is the issue, which is the controversy all about. And, it is common for parliamentarians to share their password with their staff because, they cannot sit and type all the questions. There are no rules which are laid down as to whom you can share the password and to whom you cannot share the password. But definitely sharing it with an outsider who is not part of the team of the MP is something which has been alleged to be a significant breach of privilege. And also, the cash for query, which can be an issue. And this was probed by a committee known as Ethics Committee in the Parliament.
So that was my next question actually, because when I read the news articles, I come across terms, concepts like parliamentary committees. So we all know what is Parliament, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. If there is any issue, speaker involves. But what is this parliamentary committees?
Yeah. So these are committees which are formed to assist the Parliament in its work. So there are various types of committees, right? These committees will have members, only members of Parliament will be members of these committees. So there are certain committees which has membership from both the houses. These are also called as financial committees.
Both the house means Lok Sabha and
Rajya Sabha. The Public Accounts Committee, which reviews the audit reports. The Public Sector Undertakings Committee, which reviews the audit reports of public sector undertakings. Then there is something called as an Estimates Committee, which is formed only in the Lok Sabha for reviewing the budget estimates. So these are what are known as financial committees. There may also be some select committees or joint committees which are formed for a specific purpose, like reviewing of a bill or for inquiring into some important matter. But over and above that, there are regular committees, Business Advisory Committee, which decides on the business of the house when it is in session. There is something called as a departmentally related standing committee. Each department will have its own committee and they review the bills and the budget estimates of those committees. Now, there are two important committees for the issue on hand. One is known as the Privileges Committee, which reviews any breach of privilege by a member. And the other is an Ethics Committee, which actually, inquires into any unethical conduct by a member.
Okay. So, is there any code of conduct given for the MPs?
Yes. There are code of conduct for the MPs,
Okay.
and the privileges are not codified, right?
Okay.
And even what is unethical is not codified.
Okay.
In fact, very interestingly, in 2007, when an MP took his female companion and impersonated her as his wife,
Yes.
the ethics committee had recommended suspension from the house for 30 sittings because it was considered as unethical conduct.
Okay.
In fact, there was one other instance where a member had taken a female colleague and her son, impersonating them, and a boy, impersonating them as his own wife and son, using the passports of his own wife and son.
Okay.
And it was considered a serious offense. And the recommendation but these were done by, and recommendation was for expulsion. But these were done by special inquiry committees.
Okay.
In fact, similar cash for vote happened in 2005 when some members, it was caught on a sting operation in a TV, where members were taking cash for asking certain questions. And there was a special committee which was constituted, and they recommended the expulsion of 10 members of Lok Sabha in 2005. But in the past, such serious allegations have been inquired by Special Enquiry Committee or the Privileges Committee.
Okay. So now I get a outcome question here. So in a democracy, we vote, we select the member of parliaments. So they stay there for 5 years in Lok Sabha and 6 years in Rajya Sabha. But can a parliamentary committee recommend and expel such member of parliament? Because what will be the consequence? Even the ethics committee may have some vested interest, might be biased. There are possibilities. Right?
No. Yours is a very valid question. In fact, all these committees consist of members from all the parties.
Okay.
Though obviously the membership is in proportion to your strength in the house.
Yes.
So a party, for example, in the present Lok Sabha, the BJP has more than 300 MPs. So 3/5 of the members in any committee will be from the BJP.
Yes.
If the Congress has 50 members in the Lok Sabha, then few members from the Congress will be in the committee. So obviously, that's how a democracy works. That's fine. But as you rightly said, now the Constitution under Article 101 says what are the grounds for vacation of a seat.
Okay.
So a seat can be vacated if a member is disqualified, if a member resigns, if a member is continuously absent without the permission of the House for 60 days when the House is in session, then the House can declare that seat to be vacant.
Right.
But expulsion is not specifically provided.
Okay.
But, death is also not provided. Obviously, if you die, you vacate the entire planet, not just the parliament. Right? But expulsion is not specifically provided. So, in fact, this came up in a case before the Supreme Court in 2007. The cash for query, I told you, 10 MPs.
10 MPs.
One of them challenged it in the Supreme Court.
Okay.
And the Supreme Court, by a 4:1 majority, there is something called as privilege of the House.
Okay.
Now, this privilege of the House started in medieval Britain.
Right.
During the 14th to 16th century, because the House of Commons, what we call as the Lok Sabha, the equivalent in UK is House of Commons, which has been there since the 13th century or the 14th century.
Okay.
But the king was a real powerful king till the 17th century in the UK. And so there was always a tug of war between the king and the House of Commons. So to protect the interest of the House of Commons and its members, they created privileges.
Right.
And if somebody breached that privilege, they can be punished.
Okay.
That was the genesis of privileges.
Okay.
But Indian Parliament also has similar privileges. But now we don't have a king. It's a democracy, right? But still the dignity of the House has to be protected. But in fact, in this case, 4 judges said expulsion is included in the grounds of vacation.
Okay.
In fact, there was only one judge who said, no, expulsion is not there under the existing provisions unless the Constitution is amended.
Okay.
But in a similar case in 2010, when Captain Amarinder Singh, who was the former Chief Minister of Punjab, he was expelled by the Punjab State Assembly, the Supreme Court gave a contradictory verdict.
Okay.
It said, no, expulsion will create a trouble in parliamentary democracy, just as you asked.
Okay.
People are electing their members. So if they are proved to be guilty in a criminal case, they automatically stand disqualified. But because of these political considerations, if they are expelled, then the democratic representation is prejudiced.
Okay.
So there is no authoritative Supreme Court judgment in this regard. But yes, this is the position as of now.
So in this case, was the allegation proved by this committee?
No. So the allegation, the committee,
I have one additional question along with it, sir. So this committee is made up of member of parliaments. So if there a proper investigation agency will have all the training capacity to investigate and find out the exact truth. So here, I'm not lowering the capacity, undermining the capacity of the member of parliaments, but still, when they do not have that kind of capacity or the ideas to investigate, how come their recommendation can be taken so seriously?
No, absolutely. That's exactly what I was coming to. See, as I told you, committees, members of parliament have the privileges, the house has a privilege. They do go through the evidences that are recorded. Even in this case, there has been an affidavit which has been filed by the businessman, right? And there was a hearing, though, there are allegations from the opposition that the hearings were not properly done and all that. But as you said, a committee proceeding cannot be equated with a judicial probe or a judicial case.
Okay.
A case in a court of law is handled under the provisions of the Indian Evidence Act. The evidences in a criminal case, it has to be proved beyond reasonable doubt. It is not preponderance of probabilities.
Right.
That this may have happened. A committee can decide a matter on that basis. But a court of law in a criminal case will convict only if it is proved beyond reasonable doubt that a person has committed a crime.
Okay.
Because the golden maxim of criminal jurisprudence is you are presumed to be innocent till you are proven guilty. And that is for protection of every individual. So in fact, the ideal scenario or the prudent thing to do in such matters, in fact, the ethics committee in this case is also believed to have recommended that there must be a legal inquiry. And the CBI has in fact filed a preliminary inquiry.
Okay.
So the prudent way to do this would be, for a fast track court, just to hear such cases involving MPs, a fast track court can be constituted. It can be a time bound hearing which is completed within 60 days. If required, the member can be stopped from raising any questions during those 60 days pending the conclusion of the trial.
Okay.
But if indeed they are convicted, and there may be a conviction even under the Prevention of Corruption Act, if it is indeed true, then they automatically are disqualified from the house. But if they are not convicted, they should continue to be a member of the house. That is what I would, from my personal capacity.
Thank you, sir. You gave us a complete clarity on what is this issue all about, what is parliamentary committee, and finally you also gave a way forward solution as well. And I hope the viewers would have got some clarity on what is this issue all about.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Guna, for your time as well. Thanks for watching.